The idea came from Jim Radcliffe reading an article in the Sunday Times about children who were in Britain who were still living in disadvantaged circumstances.
I started here as a deputy head back in 2004. I was then appointed as the head teacher from 2011. And then in 2015, I was asked to then go and support at St Patrick's as well. I love my job. The issues that face our families in this neighbourhood is over 80% of our families come from 10% of the most deprived areas of the country and the most deprived housing. And obviously that impacts on the resources that our families have. About a third of our families have English as an additional language, and the majority of our children come to school not ready for learning and have issues around communication and language and their personal and social development. We can't teach children unless they're feeling happy and balanced.
Forgotten 40 is a project that aims to alleviate poverty in schools. It focuses on the 100 most disadvantaged schools in the country. The schools get £20,000 each year for 3 years. Poverty is not the head teacher's problem, it's not their fault, but it's something that's falling on their shoulders more and more and more. £20,000 that the head teachers get, they can choose how they want to spend it that year.
So we were one of the first schools to be part of the initiative, and so obviously we feel extremely privileged to be part of that. Straight away, you just want to sit down with the staff and brainstorm all of the ideas that you can have, and you just want to enrich the experience for the children. There's so many ideas that particularly the teachers have, because they're with the children on a day-to-day in the classroom. So what it's been able to do for us, obviously you look at your geography of your school, so we are right on the verge of the city centre, and we have got to exploit the opportunities there. So it's rich in cultural capital, there's museums, there's libraries, there's theatres, things that our children just wouldn't normally be able to access because they are expensive to our families and they're not a priority. The funding has helped us with other things other than just taking the children out on trips to enrich the curriculum. We've also been able to fund an allotment at this school where we've been able to also fund for a member of staff to be able to support our children. Our children generally don't really have gardens, so they don't have that experience of growing plants or growing fruits and vegetables. So we've just had a wonderful harvest, which has absolutely been fantastic for them. Even though we provide curriculum music, as all schools do, we're able to identify children who might have an additional talent with an instrument. Parents wouldn't have that sort of £20, £30 to be able to take their children to a private music lesson, whereas with the INEOS funding that we've got, we've been able to provide that for our children.
Building networks of teachers is essential. We found that at the first conference, the pilot conference, we had the 20 head teachers down to INEOS, which is very strange because they're coming from the most disadvantaged areas to the most advantaged area, opposite Harrods in London. We couldn't stop them talking. It's just the fact that they were in a room with other head teachers who understood their context and they didn't have to explain themselves. And we did give them time at the beginning to explain how they spent the money. And it was really inspirational. And that's how the project has taken off.
It's really good to get together as head teachers to be able to share ideas and share good practice. So today, 4 of the schools that are in our network are coming together to listen to a speaker from INEOS, from Miller, and get together, have a little bit of a social and network.
I'm here today because Elaine Crotty spoke to me about the Forgotten 40 about 18 months ago and asked if I would be willing to come and just do a talk at their conference just about my experience within INEOS. So I've done a couple of talks for head teachers and they asked me if I would be willing to come to a school and do it for a broader church of head teachers, to which I said I would love to. Before I went to work for INEOS, I was based up in Manchester, so I have a bit of an affinity with the Northwest. I sort of felt it was a great opportunity for me to come home and also give back a bit to a community that I'm really proud of.
Well, the worldly experiences that we're providing through INEOS and head teachers are providing, it's giving children experiences that they would never have in any other way. And I remember one family talking about they went to the zoo and they took the parents with them as well. And the parents were as engaged, if not more so, than the children. In fact, they had to tell the parents to stand back because the children were at the back and the parents were at the front. But they hadn't seen anything like that either, and it was lovely to see the conversation that followed on from that, and the fact that it allows them to have that sort of connection with their child and a common shared experience as well.
We are starting to see a difference with the children, particularly around their mental health and wellbeing, and also around their conversations when they're more confident being able to talk about something that they've done because they've been out on a trip or they've enjoyed an experience. And that really is having an impact on their confidence levels and their own mental health and wellbeing as well, but also in the quality of the work that they're producing for us in class.